it's Tiffany Lorraine, the Resilient Mother, with another great speaker for you today. I have Alyssa Knapp. The stage is yours. Please tell us about you and what you do.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. So yeah, my name is Alyssa Knapp. I own Integrative Wellness Journeys and the brand The Embodied Mommy. And I help busy parents and entrepreneurs prioritize their self-care to help manage their energy. And the reason that I do this is so that parents and families can experience more joy, more ease, feel less overwhelmed and less stress. And I do that a number of different ways through different programs and things like that. But I basically have kind of taken all my years in health and wellness. So I kind of come from, it's funny when I was looking at the 3 different topics for the summit, I'm like, oh my God, I've been all these places. So loved for years. The whole beginning of my career was talking about the body. And I am by trade an exercise physiologist and wellness coach and things like that. And then when I started my own business a few years ago is when I started getting into the energy piece. So I also am a Reiki master teacher. In fact, I integrate that with a lot of my programs. Yeah. And yeah, so become very passionate as a mother myself of a now 5-year-old and 1-year-old, which like I can't even believe. I also had a pregnancy loss in between. So through all of these experiences have just really helped me become honestly more grounded in myself, more aligned to my purpose, and really, really passionate about helping other moms and other parents and families really, again, just find their light and find that joy. Because not to sound like totally corny or cheesy, but it's how we change the world. It's how we change the world, like through healing families and helping families, and the mother, the matriarch, right? She's the head of all of it, whether or not we feel that way sometimes, we really can change the energy and the direction of our household, and no pressure or anything, right? But but it just goes to show how important, right? It's so easy to put these things aside and to put our well-being aside and to say yes to everything else instead of ourselves. So really just again love helping parents to figure out what does that look like for me, right? Like what is self-care to me? What are these things? How do I manage my energy, which is what I'll be talking a little bit about I think today.
Yes. Well, and you just hit really well that that's really part of resilience is getting to bring the joy and the light out of people and not letting anything dim it. Or if something tries to, bouncing back from it. And all families right now are bouncing back from a rough 2 years. We all have had a few things that we've gone through, a few challenges, and we can all use more resilience as the world continues to change and emerge. But we need to realize we can do it too. I look at past generations that have gone through things like the Great Depression and world wars. We're just facing different challenges, but it doesn't mean the human race can't rise to them. And mothers, yes, are the foundation of society. And that's what the summit is all about, is strengthening mothers and therefore strengthening families and giving those examples to the next generation to realize that they're going to make it and they're going to thrive. It's just a matter of seeing their inner potential and being true to it no matter what's going on around them. So I love that you have different tools to do that. Do you want to talk about some of those programs a little bit and how they work towards resilience in families? Because you've already hit on your mom and how it applies to moms. So
Yeah. And I just have to say, just got absolute chills as you were saying that, and it's so true and so important that it's very easy to get taken away, right? To get drawn away from what is happening right in front of us, right? To get so hung up on worries, concerns. And I think once you become a mom, that just amplifies, right? I know from just at least speaking for myself, my own experience and the moms that I know and that I've worked with, it's like once you become responsible for this other human, it's like nothing else in the world has ever now been more important than keeping this little thing alive. Like even right now at this time that we're doing this summit, that we're recording this, right? Not only, like you said, in the last 2 years have we been through it, right? With stressors and threats, right? And all of these things. Now, they're talking about food, and obviously formula. A lot of the countries dealing with this. And I think what we have to understand, and that's why the work you're doing and the work that we're all doing together in the summit with this resilience aspect, right? Is that there's always going to be something to fear. There is always going to be something to be scared of, a threat. But we as humans are literally designed and built to move past that, right? So I love what you said about coming back to that inner light and finding all of that. And I'll kind of get right into with my tools, right? So one of the biggest ones I'm going to say is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the cornerstone, in my opinion, of any behavior change, right? And we're all here, we're all coming to this summit, right? Because there's something we want to change, right? Is it something that we need to be doing differently? Is it something that we want to be seeing differently in ourselves or in the world around us? And mindfulness is how we really capture that, right? And how we actually bring awareness to, what am I doing? What do I need to change? Oh, are my thoughts going to these places of darkness, right? Of worry, of anxiety, of overwhelm? Is it going to all the things that I can't control? Is it going to all the million to-do lists, piles of laundry and all these things, right? I mean, we can be spread so thin. So mindfulness helps us to bring awareness to those patterns, but without judgment. That's the real aspect of mindfulness that's different than just presence, right? Because you can be present but be very aware of how anxious you are, right? You can be aware of your thoughts but judge them, right? And start to tie meaning to them, and feelings and emotions and things arise because of them, right? But that aspect of judgment and releasing judgment is really where we take the control and the power back of our energy. So
Mhm.
mindfulness is the first and foremost most important tool, and a very foundational tool that I teach in every session, every program, every class, every little thing, because it's so important. It's actually how I began in this whole area. So like I mentioned before, I started in kind of the physical aspect of things and exercise and things of that nature, and now getting more into the energy. That bridge for me was mindfulness, because of the research, because of all the evidence, and just how I started to feel, because I have a history of panic attacks and anxiety attacks from when I was younger. They started like in my early 20s. So this was one of those tools that I started to kind of build for myself as I started this journey of kind of understanding this aspect of myself. Because, like, I'm sure you can relate, Tiffany, a little overachiever. We a little overachiever in there, a little type A personality, right? Yeah. I know. I got your number.
Guilty.
Exactly. Something in me just said, I think so. But yeah, exactly. And probably so many moms on here too, right? I mean, and as a mom and as an entrepreneur, you kind of have to be able to juggle a bunch of stuff and be thinking of a lot of different moving parts. But when it gets to the point where it's actually causing distress on the body and it starts to actually wear you down, right? It's like tires on a car. If you wear them enough and you're on your brakes too much, you're speeding up too much, and there's just a lot of action happening, you're gonna wear down on that tire so much quicker, right? And what happens when you start to get to the metal under there? Problems. We got problems. We need to change those tires out, right? And if you do too much damage, you go too long, you might get a flat tire. That car might be out of commission for a while, right? So
Yep.
by doing these things and by incorporating tools like mindfulness or energy work, which I'll talk about in a moment, it's like regular routine maintenance on your car. It's like changing those tires before you get the flat, before it's an emergency, before you're calling AAA, right?
Right.
And we've all been there. I mean, I've been there too many times. Like I said, I didn't have panic attack for no reason. It was because I was overloading and stressing myself out. And this is before kids. This is, before all of that. So anyway, so mindfulness, very, very important, right? The next tool I want to talk about is Reiki. Are you familiar at all with Reiki?
So I've had a little bit of experience with it, but I understand it has to do with aligning the chakras in our body, so the energy systems in our body. And a little bit of yoga and some Reiki experience has really shown me that there really is something to having these things lined up and just even being aware of what they are. I don't think a lot of people have known. I think more of it's coming out now as we all are becoming very aware of our health and our energy and anything that will help with that vitality that we all seek and that resilience that we all seek. But I'd love to hear your explanation of it because that's my very limited understanding of it.
Beautiful. And you hit it dead on. Essentially, what Reiki is, it's a spiritually guided life force energy. So life force energy is that energy that flows through each of us that makes us alive, right? So we need that life force energy to flow through to be well, to feel optimal, right? So there's been a lot of research and a lot of studies done on acupuncture. So I always love to use acupuncture as an example when I'm describing Reiki energy specifically and how it works. So basically, we have these meridian channels that run through our body. And for anybody that's familiar with the way the physical body is put together, we have arteries and veins that run through our limbs and our body. We have our lymphatic system, which are lymphatic vessels that run through our body. And what all of these things do are what circulate fluids, nutrients, remove waste, right? These are things that are happening on a physical level. So our meridian channels are like those vessels that run through us. They carry energy through different lines in the body, right? Our chakras, which you mentioned, these are energy centers, main energy centers in our body. We have 7 main ones and a bunch of other ones. And these are like our organs and our organ systems. Okay. So let's look at your digestive system. You got your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your pancreas, your intestines, your right, all the way down to we're excreting matter. So all of those parts are working together, right? For a purpose. So these energy centers in our body work for a purpose. So each one is associated with a different part, not only of our physical body. So let's use the heart, for example. The heart chakra is associated with all of the organs and muscles and things around the area of the heart space, but it's also associated with love, lower vibration emotions like fear. It's associated with feeling support, being able to allow in. So you get the point. Energetically, this space is connected to physical parts of our life experience.
The unseen and the seen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we have these channels, right, within our bodies that are flowing and carrying this energy everywhere. We have these centers in our system that are flowing, right? Well, what happens when, we clog the drain, right? What happens when we clog a pipe and, oh my gosh, all of a sudden now energy is not able to flow through this channel? What happens? It gets stuck, right? And what happens when one part of a system is stuck? The rest of the system does not flow in its optimal way. So energetically, that is what's happening on a level that we cannot see visually with our eyes. But what we do tend to see and what we do tend to feel are the emotions that arise when we have an energetic block, the actual physical experiences that will happen when we have an energetic block. Now, you might ask, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did I have a heart attack and it caused a block in my heart chakra, right? Or was there something that happened here that caused this issue within, right? And it always is going to depend on the situation. We can have things like an accident, like I can hit my knee, and injure my knee. And then, okay, there's going to also be an energetic imbalance, right? But likewise, when we do have an energy, and oftentimes when I'm talking about energy, we're talking about the energy field around us or our auric field or our bioenergetic field, as well as those different things that I talked about is within the body, like the meridian channels and the chakras. So when we have blockages and things that are happening outside of our physical body, that actually is also has the potential to affect us internally. Which is so interesting. So this is why when we're looking at our health, when we're looking at our well-being, we absolutely need to look at the full picture, right? We need to look at what's happening energetically, physically. What are the feelings? What are the thoughts? What are the beliefs tied to that? And kind of bringing it back full circle too, to, the whole topic of this, right? And having our lifestyle, our healthy lifestyle, and our way that we can bring this in is because I refer to something as it's like your energetic hygiene, right? Well, if we're taking care of our teeth, we're brushing our teeth, we're flossing, we're going to the dentist, we're taking care of our skin, we're washing it, we're putting on our lotion, we're doing all of our little routines, right? When we're taking care of our energy, we're bringing mindfulness into it. So now we're being aware of how we're feeling, what we're feeling, where we're feeling it. But then we're also doing routine activities and things because there are things that we can do like meditation, right? But it's not the only one to clear our energy because there's that maintenance, right? And especially as moms, I found moms, we have, I mean, females in general, honestly, but moms especially have very poor boundaries around our children, right? Because we care so much because we are them. We literally created them, right? Like, of course, we're going to have very loose boundaries. And when I say boundaries, I mean mostly energetic.
Yeah.
What I
How to
mean by
give
that, what
and give and give to them. And we need to remember, and this keeps coming up, put your oxygen mask on first.
exactly, exactly, right? So this tool is a means, it's that oxygen mask. It's what you're putting on and breathing in so that you can keep going, so that you can really be there and show up for your kids and be present. Because another thing, I'm sure you hear this all the time as well from parents of older children. I wish I was more present. I wish I wasn't so stressed all the time. I wish I wasn't worried about this or that or focused on this or that. I wish I just enjoyed my time with them. And every time I hear that, it breaks my heart a little bit, and it just makes me want to work harder to help the moms now who are struggling, and we've all been there and we always will be. We're always going to struggle. There's always going to be something and it's okay. But how do we move through in a way that brings us back to now so that we can enjoy and we can be present?
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I feel like my kids are growing so fast. I've got one 11, 9, and 1. They have birthdays in June and July, so now that'll be 12 and 10 and 2. And I'm like, how did that happen? So
I know. My oldest is going to kindergarten next year and I could cry, honestly, just talking about it. Like I don't want my kids to grow up. I know that's the point. That's the whole point, but at the same time it's just like, oh, I just want to do everything I can to really enjoy it, be present and, to live knowing that I'm really just doing my best to be here, and how that ripples into them. Like there have been times when I'm always rushing, right? My thing has always been rushing in the morning, getting here on time, getting to school on time, getting to this, getting to that. And I don't always realize, right, the things that I would be saying to my son like out loud. I still do it if I'm not catching myself, if I'm not mindful and grounded. But all right, hurry up, come on, gotta go, hurry up, hurry up. And there have been times where he's reflected back to me that same language, hurry up, we have to go, we're gonna be late, blah, blah, blah. And I hear him say it back to me. I'm like, oh, I'm giving you a little time complex. Like, oh God, we need to pump the brakes on this, right? And kind of dig into some of these beliefs and some of these things and how they're coming out because our kids are little mirrors. They are reflecting back to us
Mhm.
so much, so much, and presenting us with all of these opportunities to grow more and to push those comfort levels.
I
Yeah.
just love how they're very curious still, because we lose that as we get older and we get a little jaded. And I love how honest they are. You know exactly what they're feeling. They can't hide it and they're going to tell you like it is. So watch out. And
The watch out is right.
I think we'd be more resilient if we stayed with that. Like we didn't lose that real essence of this is how I'm feeling. This is what I want to say. I mean, within reason, you can be too blunt and offend people. That's very true. But not accommodate other people and get so lose ourselves in the process. I think being resilient is
Absolutely.
also, being true to your energy, like you were saying, and being mindful of you and bringing that present and staying present with it. When we shift from who we're around or different things, then we lose ourselves and then other people lose themselves because it becomes about outside validation. And outside validation does not feed the soul. It leaves some kind of like something feels off, something feels not authentic, not in alignment. And I think all these things you're talking about are all about being in alignment with yourself and your truth, because that's the only way you can really shine, is if what you're doing really brings you joy, and if you are really um, honest with what works for you. And that's going to be different for everybody. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's why I want people to realize in the summit too, is like your resilience, how you bounce back, is not my resilience and how I bounce back. You're going to have your own tools. And that's why we have notes for people to take during the summit, is to like, oh, I might try that. Oh, I might try that. And then go try it and see what works for you. So I love that you're giving us some distinct tools here. And I think you said you had a third one, and I can't wait to hear what it is. So
Did I? Oh, I got to remember what it was. So I don't even remember. Yeah, I said 3. I just threw a number out there. Well, mindfulness would be 1, the Reiki and the energy would be 2. And then if I'm going to throw my favorite third one out there, I'm going to say journaling and writing. And what I'm going to kind of come back to full circle as I kind of go into and talk about my offer and what I have for all the viewers here, to be able to apply everything that I'm talking about and get a taste of what these tools are. I have the Embodied Mommy grounding practice. So the link is going to be within the notes for the summit. And it's a practice where I encourage you to bring mindfulness to your day, preferably to the morning, because how we begin our day really does set the energy and the tone for the full day. And doing a grounding exercise. So there's a 5-minute meditation in there, which is energy healing. So you'll have to do it to understand what I'm talking about. So you're going to receive that during those 5 minutes. And then there's also prompts to reflect, prompts to check in with how you're feeling, with what's going on, and getting used to listening to that energy, because you're right. It's about truth. It's about your truth. It's about your authenticity. And think about how different, again, that ripple effect of what our future generations are going to look like when their parents know their truth, when their parents can speak their truth. And that's huge. And you mentioned that whole thing about being aware of, what you're saying, right? And who you're saying it to, and not necessarily putting those filters on it, right? That we don't want to, that are not in alignment with that truth. So there is a throat chakra, which you can imagine is related to whatever is governing the throat, as well as your ability to speak your truth, to feel worthy of being heard, to express yourself creatively. And I think, like you're saying, while we go through life and we do become jaded and we do become conditioned based on our culture, right? And who's bringing us up and all the different kinds of experience. And again, that's going to be different for each individual. Through our life, we pick up on that energy and we hold it onto it. We hold onto it in these energy centers that I'm talking about. And guess what? We got to let them go. We got to let them go in order to move forward. And Reiki and all these things are just some tools to help you through. There are so many. So I'm so excited for this summit and to have all of these different tools and all these different things highlighted, because what's important, whenever you're listening to this right now, you are going to be a different person tomorrow, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. And because you're going to be a different person, you're going to need different tools. So you're going to want to come back to all of this, to these notes that you're taking right now during this, and revisit and come back when you need them, because just spoiler alert, you're going to need them.
Absolutely. And we're going to do a recap day on June 6th for those that want to kind of go everything and see what your notes were and just talk about it. And we'll also have the live Q&A at the end of the day. That'll be well, it's shifting a little bit. We keep adding speakers, so I'm not going to say a time right in the middle of this because I might be wrong. But there is the Q&A. So if you missed that, there are recordings for VIP if you want to see that as well. And this community is really loving each other. So I have a feeling we'll be around for doing other things as well. So you already mentioned kind of your offer of what you're giving. So we are getting close to the end of our time. So that means it is Zoom box dance time. So let me find some music and we will dance. So Zoom box means we're in this box. So the moves have to fit within the box. And whoever's got the best dance moves, we're going to figure out some kind of prize for them. So
that's great.
I just got to find some license-free dance music here. Here we go. Here we go. All right. I think I like this one. Let's do this one. All right. 1 minute. I usually have this ready, so thank you for your patience.
Patience. It's all about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, this one's a little different. Let's go with this one. There we go. All right, that's fun. I love to get everybody up and moving, so we're not just sitting through this, sitting in a Zoom.
Love it.
We are getting exercise. We're moving that energy. We're keeping the energy up, right?
Yes. And movement is important for your energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
It's movement too, not just stillness. Love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. I love what you hit on. It's really all what the summit is about. So I can't wait for our audience to get to see this, and feel free to bring people in and share and be a part of the community, and reach out to these speakers if something that they said resonates with you and that you feel they can help you on your resilience journey. All right. Till the next speaker.